The things I do for YouTube. Welcome back. It's been over a year since my last video, and that wasn't even makeup related. What better way than to reintroduce myself to you guys, all right? But today, to start off my grand return to YouTube, I'm gonna be doing a series of Halloween makeup looks. Hardly can you take your shoes off. The first one that we're going to be doing is inspired by none other than Alex Faction. He is one of my favorite face painter, makeup artists, whatever it is that you want to call him. I'm going to be recreating, I'll put it right here. This is the look that I'm going to be recreating. That glam zombie pop art style makeup. Well, the majority of the products I'm going to be using today are from my local supplier here in Spring, Texas. And it's Danny's Trix, and I'll link their information down below. But I'm going to be using the Mehron, the Edge. This is the Mehron's Edge face palette. It's water activated. I also purchased their neon pigments, and these are the Paradise paints. I also got some brushes from there, and also some contacts. This is going to be a voiceover because I haven't done a talk through in a long time. This makeup look is going to be very tedious. Let's get into it. So the first thing I'm doing is just mapping out the areas that I'm going to be shading in a different color. For example, this shape right here is going to be for the brain. The other shapes on here on the left side of my face is going to be for the little tears. And then on the right side, I'm going to be creating the mouth torn apart where you see the teeth exposed. And then I'm going to be filling that in later. So what I'm doing is using a NYX Wonder Pencil, and this is a little bit of a beigey tone color, and that just helps in case I make a mistake, then I can wipe it away and create the new shape. Once I have that all outlined, I'm going to go in with a face paint, and this is from the Edge palette. I mixed two shades, the blue and the white. It's going to look a little bit blotchy in the beginning because I had to go back and forth a couple times, but it worked for me because it ended up creating more dimension, so I think. So I'm just outlining or filling in the remainder of the face with that blue face paint first, and I'm using this flat brush, and just helps me get really close up to those edges. Now, one thing I do want to point out right away is that it is very important to let this dry before you go in with another coat. I only left it at one coat, so you can definitely go in and make it a lot more pigmented, but the palette itself is already very, very pigmented. So you want to make sure that you let it dry before you go in and create additional strokes that are unnecessary. So now I'm going in with a white paint, and I'm just outlining, creating the teeth. Now this does not have to be super perfect because we're going to be filling that in later on. But now I'm going to go in with a green, and I'm just starting to fill in the remainder part of the mouth because this is going to create the effect of it being like a tissue. So the same thing goes for the other side of the face. The little tears make it seem as if it was the tissue beneath the skin. The decaying part, I guess you could say. So for the nose, I just went in with the black face paint, and I'm just using a fine detail brush, just like the same brush I was using for the teeth. And I'm just going to create that hollow effect on the nose. Then with my Juvias Place Culture eyeshadow palette, I'm going in and shading around the green, creating some more depth and dimension, mixing a little bit of green, a little bit of yellow. Now this is the part that was starting to get messy for me because, again, I didn't let the face paint dry before I went in. So when I tried to apply paint on top of that eyeshadow, it was just starting to get super muddy. But here I am just outlining and then shading it in again. And here you could definitely see the demarcation, like it was really intense. So I had to just wet the brush a little bit to help blend that out some more. So now I'm just going in and outlining the teeth because, again, this is pop art, cartoony effect. So everything is very outlined, everything is outlined. And honestly, this was probably one of my favorite parts. I don't know why, but I just enjoyed outlining it, especially with this very fine detail brush. Then to fill in the center part, I'm using the neon pigment. Now this does show up under UV lights, and I think that would be super cool, especially if you're wearing this out at a party, at a club, and it's just, I think it just adds to the effect. And then for the teeth area, I was starting to fill it in around the edges, and I was planning on blending it all out, but I kind of like the way this looked. It just gave a little twist on his look, making it more mine. So I just went in with the blue eyeshadow, a darker blue, and I'm just shading around the areas, shading around the lines, creating some more depth and dimension to this look and not so flat. Same thing I did with the black, and I'm just going around the edges, adding some dimension. Now for the braids, I got a little bit frustrated here. All was going well. You know, I applied the pink and then I applied the little red circles. I don't know what I was thinking. This ended up looking like grapes. I hated it, but I was going with it and I just kept trying to make it work. I didn't want to take it off, but in the end I did. I hated it. So you're gonna see here just a second that I ended up going off camera because I was ready to take this off entirely. But I went ahead and just removed that whole piece and recreated the lines. And I love the way it looks. So this is the new shape that I created. I also added a little bit of white on the inside. It just created, again, some depth and dimension. Now for the glam eyes, I started off with the Anastasia Beverly Hills eye primer as a base. And then I went in with my Juvias Place palette with the dark blue eyeshadow and just started to apply that into the crease. I wanted to give this look a cut crease. So then I'm cutting the crease and using the primer again. And then over that, I'm just filling it in with a shimmer tone shadow. Then I'm using Inglot Gel Eyeliner No. 77 to create my wings and to outline the crease, because again, everything is outlined in this look. I went in with the black face paint. I kind of really enjoyed how the brush glided with this paint. A lot more than the Inglot, to be honest. For the eyebrows, I started off using a eyeshadow. Okay, so my battery died in the middle of filming, and since this is a new camera, I have not yet bought backup batteries, so forgive me, y'all. But anyway, all I went ahead and did was just filled in the lips with some pink lipstick. Then I highlighted it in the center with some of the white face paint and then outlined it. I also went around and just did a little bit more shading, but really I followed the steps that Alex Faction had put in his video. So I'll link down his video in the description bar below, but you guys can follow along with it as well. When it came to the neck area, I kind of got lazy, so that's all we did there. But I love the way this came out. So especially with the contacts, it's like it seals it off. Also, I put on some really big full lashes. These lashes are by Cammy Nguyen. I'm not sure if she still has this style, but I'll link all the products down in the description bar below. And stay tuned. Like if you enjoyed, if you found this useful. I think this was pretty easy to follow. But like, subscribe, and make sure to stay tuned for next week, because I'm going to be bringing you one once a week. And again, we're starting off the series with these Halloween looks. Thank you all for watching.